So today I've got a lot on my mind. I'm actually in the park and decided just to take a break and just to relax. Actually fasting today, which is one of the things that I do a lot just to get closer to God, but also it brings me a sense of peace. It gives me directions. As a matter of fact, a while back when I did like one of my first fasts that was really long, I did a 21-day fast, which was something that Dr. Miles Monroe recommended, or something that he does, I believe, twice a year with his former congregation in the Bahamas. Of course, we know Dr. Miles Monroe and his wife has since transitioned, and they're no longer present, but definitely they've left such an awesome legacy. So from time to time I do go back and listen to a lot of his teachings that are on YouTube, and I really like the model that he's left on fasting. So from time to time, at least once or twice a year as the Lord leads, I do the 21-day fast. Today though, it's not really a 21-day fast, it's really just a one-day fast that my church is doing on Wednesdays during the Lenten season. So I'm just here in the park and I was just thinking and just processing, because there's a lot on my mind. So I was just sitting here processing it, and I was just thinking about a conversation that I had with my mom yesterday. She had called me like twice, actually no, 3 times, early yesterday morning via WhatsApp. But apparently my mom was trying to send me a message, but instead she ended up calling me. Now my mom lives in Alaska, so when I woke up and I saw that she had called me, I was like, oh my God, I'm thinking something is wrong. So I called my brother and he's like, well, if something was wrong, most likely mom would have told me, or you would have known by now. So nothing is wrong, it probably was an error. So of course I did call my mom. We were talking, and I did learn that yes, it was an error. But as conversations with my mom always goes, it ended with us talking about my sister, who is about to turn 17 in April, and her birthday. And the conversation shifted to me just reminiscing and saying, oh my God, I remember when she was a baby, and which was 22 years ago almost. So that would mean then that I am also aging. So, and of course this year I'll be celebrating my 39th birthday. So I was just like, oh my God. And my mom, of course, reminds me, yeah, you're gonna be 39, you're almost gonna be 40 next year when your sister graduates, and you are quite single and don't have any children. And I'm like, okay, well, thanks for the reminder. It's not really about me, it's about my sister, who's gonna be 17, almost 18, but okay. I mean, yes, I've noted, that, guess what, yes, I'm gonna be 40 and quite single. So we just ended the conversation with me just, asking my mom to, well, just pray that the Lord will send me, the right person, the husband, and then eventually, yes, you'll have a grandchild, at least from me, because technically my mother, well, not technically, actually, my mother is a grandmother, but I guess being the firstborn, she expects me to produce a child in some way. So yeah, so the expectations are quite high. But it just made me start to really think about the baggages that we as women carry around, the expectations that at a certain age, we should accomplish certain things, or there's just certain checklists, that we should have already attained certain things on the list. And when I was younger, having a child was not at the forefront of my list. It was something that I definitely wanted to do, and I think it's something that I grew into accepting, that most likely I should at some point have a child. Now that I am getting older though, and of course I've had several relationships, I was married and I'm presently divorced. So at that time in my marriage, I didn't think that it was the right time to have a child. More importantly, I was thinking that my husband and I needed to, well, my ex-husband and I needed to take some time just to sort out what we were going to do with the next steps of our lives, even though I'm thinking we probably should have already had that sorted out prior to getting married. But there was still so many things that we wanted to accomplish, and having a child at that time would have complicated things. So I decided that no, it wasn't the right time. And also my husband at the time had a son, and I really felt that he needed to spend more time getting to know him and just be more involved in his life, because he really wasn't involved. And for me, that was definitely a picture, a portrait of what could possibly take place in our relationship. So I really didn't want to mirror that in any way. So I really wanted him to be involved, and rightfully so, he became very involved and has an awesome relationship with his son presently. So, that's great. But I didn't have a child with him. So, as my mom reminded me, yes, you've got no children and you're getting old. So, 40 is knocking. But, I'm not really worried so much, but just a bit concerned. But I do have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful goddaughter, and adopting a child is definitely something that could take place, although I feel like Abraham in some way, like I need a child from my loins, or at least my mother needs a child from my loins. So as I am approaching my Sarah years, I'm thinking that definitely should be praying. So today's fast, though, it's not about, Lord, help me to get a husband and help me to procreate quickly before menopause sets in. No, that's really not the gist of today's fast, or even the gist of today's conversation. But I think the main thing that I want to share today is really about living a fasted life, or living a life where you do spend time and commit time with God, time that is just set apart for you and Him, where you're able to hear the voice of God and where God is able to really speak to you. And I remember in 2015, when I started my first 21-day fast, it was definitely a lot that took place. First of all, it was a shock to my system, because I wasn't used to not eating food for 21 days, and that's 21 days and nights, so 21 full days of not eating, but drinking, water, herbal tea, and a few other juices like apple juice and cranberry juice. But during that time, though, my body and also my mind underwent a transition, a total shift. I remember on day 6 telling my best friend that I felt that I literally had died. I literally had such a supernatural experience where there was literally a death and a spiritual rebirth that had actually taken place. And also during this time was when the Lord reminded me, or made me more aware, that I needed to focus on forgiveness. There were people that had done things to me, or had hurt, had caused some hurt or some harm in the past, and I had not reconciled my issues or my feelings, and I really needed to spend some time to really focus on forgiving them, and also forgiving myself. I really hadn't taken the time. I thought that I had forgiven, because the scripture says that you should forgive your brother 70 times per day. So